topic today is what it takes to attract and keep a high quality man. So when we say that, Polina, tell me why you chose that topic and let's jump in there.
Yes, so the reason why is because what I see, and again, you and I will resonate because we're specifically focused on a certain quality of a certain category, and of course I can expand more on the categories of men. And what happens, what I see is so much of a dating advice overall looks at all men, just perceives them as they are the same. And of course, that is not the case. And so the focus on specifically high quality men, the way you approach, the way you date, the way you build a relationship with a high quality man is very different than it would be with any man. And again, there's the logic and the rationale and the reasons and who you have to be, the kind of person you got to be, the kind of values you have. So that is so important to understand. And just that is one gap that I see overall out there, is that not all men are created equal. Not all the cookie cutter approaches and tricks work for everyone. And this specific category that we're looking for, that is that 1 in a million kind of man, is very, very different. So, and I'm happy, of course, to share some of the secrets today and discuss yours as well, Michelle.
Yeah, so let's jump in there. So one thing that you said that really resonates with me is that it has a lot to do with who you show up as in the world in terms of who you attract. And so let's start there and talk about like the definition of the high value woman.
Mm-hmm. Yes, beautiful. So exactly, we go right into the being, the identity, because again, this is exactly where we want to start. And so many people operate from a very different model where you have to do this. You have dating is a numbers game, and you have to do more of this and be on more sites and duty dating. And so I have a completely different point of view, and that is we start with the who, not the what, not the doing, so that do so I can have this kind of man, but who do you have to be? Who do I have to be as a woman to attract that kind of man? And it's based on the simple premise that we attract who we are. So in a relationship, really any relationships, just like life in general serves as a mirror, and then relationships serve as magnifying glass, so we can really see what's going on within us. So one quality that makes a woman a high value woman is that the key is in the word itself, high value. So it is placing high value on yourself as a woman. And that value is not defined by the doing. What is it that you're doing? Are you doing the makeup? You doing your second master's degrees? It's not about earning that, because your value is intrinsic value. You deserve and you're worthy of love just because you are. Your heart is beating, you're breathing, you are here, and yes, you are a woman, and that is enough. So when you truly, not just like, okay, I've heard it so many times, being that, not knowing, because there's a huge gap between knowing something, think, oh, I know this, and being that way, living that truth. So, and that is the number one thing, is value yourself, because when you're valuing yourself, how you're showing up, who you're being is very, very different. And most high quality men, who we're going to talk about in just a moment, and what makes them different, they are just like you, are looking for that 1 in a million woman. And those women are very few. A lot of women might say, well, yes, of course I'm a high value woman. And yet, again, we're going to look at some of the mistakes that women make, which automatically put women in a different category. And those men who already was high quality men, who already If for any woman out there who says there's no quality man, that is absolutely not true. And here's why. If you think that there are no quality men out there because you are not meeting anyone, then consider this, that a high quality man has already evaluated you way before you ever get a chance to evaluate him. So there are definitely high quality men out there, and they're looking for those high value women who value themselves. And one more thing I will add is those women, what is the number one thing about them that makes them different is that those women take 100% responsibility for themselves, for their lives, for the results they create. So those are the kind of women who will not say, I'm single because online dating doesn't work. That is an example of not taking responsibility.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So what are some of the key characteristics of a high quality man from your definition?
Okay. Yeah. So great question. So here's, again, here's what I see. It's interesting how this is such it's overused word. A lot of women say that, and it's interesting, men will not say that. They're like, high quality man. And I have when I have conversations with my husband, who is definitely in that category, high quality man, when I introduce that, like using that language, she's like, what is that? But in reality, there is that type of man. And to make it super, super easy, because any woman could just go and give me a laundry list of what high quality man is like. He's successful. He's got financial security. He wants a commitment, like all of these things. I'll just simplify. I'll make it super, super simple. If we just look at one thing, and that is that keyword, responsibility. So a high quality man takes 100% responsibility. And that is why, if you think about it, a man who starts his own business and grows a multi-million-dollar and multi-billion-dollar company, he takes responsibility also for his team, for he assumes the leadership. He takes responsibility for the success of all the people around, and of course his family. So the reason we're so attracted, or what makes a man a successful man, or financially stable, or he commits, because this kind of man have this one quality in them. They know and they take responsibility. And so, of course, he will assume and take responsibility not only for himself. He's got so much more. He is such a big personality in terms of his values, and values of core values is to provide, is to protect, is to contribute, is to create, to give, and that is the indicator. So the high value man is 100% responsibility. They're quality men, they're good men, and they're men, I would call them the second category. They're 50-50 guys. So, and it works as well, and it can also get tricky because it depends on your values and your vision. So the reason why I use dating by design, love design, because you get to be the designer of your own, you get to create your own life, and you get to design the experience and whatever it is that is important to you based on your values. So those men who will be negotiating with you, there will be a lot of negotiating. Expect that, okay, while you're breastfeeding, I'm going to take the trash out, but when we both work 9 to 5 and we, split the rent, et cetera, et cetera. So that is a kind of man. And then the third category is very simple. There's a man who just don't want to take any responsibility. And how do you know that they don't take responsibility for their growth and advancement and career, for themselves even, and they're not able to take responsibility for you or for a relationship? And they will oftentimes say that I can't commit right now because et cetera, et cetera. And what is a definition of somebody who doesn't take responsibility? They are blaming, complaining, making excuses. We're looking for circumstances out of their control or outside of them. It's external. So if you just remember that, and in the conversation, even when you ask a man, what is it? Tell me about, what is your biggest accomplishment, or like, what's next for you? You will, by the way he talks, and if he can't even tell you, if he's been dreaming about starting a business for the last 10 years and he's still in between jobs, or he takes random jobs, you already know, is he a high quality man? Is he kind of man who doesn't take responsibility and he just always has a reason why something doesn't work out, which is, again, not taking responsibility. So those are the three categories, and that is one key word. Of course, your values will always be directly reflected in the results you create in your life and the quality of your life. So again, a man who's got a stable career, a stable circle of friends, who is in a place in his life where he wants a family, of course, that is a high quality man, right? And you got to be the kind of woman who can be aligned, who is also taking responsibility for herself. And this is not about 50-50, by the way, because for a successful man, honestly, he doesn't care how much money you make. It's not about it. And you can be extremely successful doing what you love and do it for the reasons that are separate than just, but that's a whole different conversation. So again, it comes back to what is it that you want, right? The kind of man you want, the dynamic you want to have, and who are you being now? Where are you in your life to match that? And if you're not matching that, what is the gap and how do you close that gap? And this is why we start, and we will always go back to who you're being and not the superficial layers of where do we go to meet with high quality men. They're everywhere. And what do we say? Because it's about doing. It's not about being. And that is why it's short-lived or it doesn't work. Because the truth is much deeper. The truth is always within us. All the answers are within you already.
Yeah, and I think actually, Polina, that it's somewhat rare that people out there take 100% responsibility for their lives, because I think that it's easier to blame circumstances outside of ourselves for what might not be going well, because that keeps us from having to look at some maybe challenging things within ourselves, or to make some challenging changes, or to try something new that takes courage. And so I think that it's absolutely true that taking responsibility for your own life, your own results, and what you want in your life is incredibly powerful. And seeing how a man shows up in all aspects of his life, that's also incredibly powerful. However, I don't think that that's the way the vast majority of people out there operate, which is why it does feel more like that 1 in a million thing. That having been said, I do believe that if you want an extraordinary relationship, being an extraordinary woman and being extraordinary in the way you're showing up is going to help you to attract that kind of person. And I also think that the being part of this, we can be doing all the right things on the outside, but if we don't have the right internal environment going on in terms of knowing our own value and understanding clearly how we want to show up in the world, then it doesn't matter that we're doing all the right things on the outside. It's still not necessarily going to get us the results we want. So
I just want to say that I absolutely agree. And I just drew something that will illustrate that exactly. If we look at number of people here on the top, so we're talking about high quality man right here on the top of the pyramid, in direct proportion to, this is 100% responsibility. So then men on the bottom, on the middle, and the men on the bottom, but probably more of them. And this is the low, we call them the low quality men who don't want to take responsibility. There are a lot of them here. And of course, the percentage of responsibility they take is also, you see the correlation. So that's exactly the truth. So we're not going to say something that there's like quality men are everywhere, but not in the quantities as all other men. And they are different. There are fewer of them, just like with anything of quality. Why do we value diamonds? Diamonds are everywhere. We see them all around, but it's not like they're available everywhere and all the time, and it's easy. So this is why we're not talking about the easy stuff. Go to this place and say this, and you'll get your dream man. It doesn't work like that. And a lot of advice out there is based on that there's just this magic formula, there's just this trick or this place, and the answer is no.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I absolutely believe that. So I just think that this is a really important and thought-provoking conversation, and considering how you're being in all aspects of your life, and then paying attention to how a man is showing up in all aspects of his life. Because there's a saying out there, and I don't know who originated it, but it says how you do one thing is how you do everything. And I really believe that's true. It's like if you're showing up, there's going to be consistency in how you're showing up and how a man's showing up. If you're showing up as that high value woman and he's showing up as that kind of 1 in a million high quality man. And so you're looking at not just how he's showing up with you, although that's obviously extremely important, but you're looking at how he shows up in other aspects of his life as well.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. One thing you said is, so this is another very, very key point to get is then men, so how you show up and the man shows up, men always respond to women. Mm-hmm. So, and you can test. So that's why I said a lot of women will say, of course, I'm a high value woman. And let's say you are at a party and the man comes and says something to you, or like, and by the way, pickup artists do that as a strategy, but it's called minus plus. So we start with a negative and then we switch to positive and we'll say, you look fat in this dress. If a man says that to you, if you immediately go into, what will be your immediate reaction? So this is how you test yourself. If you immediately go and you like, and you go and attack, right? And you maybe insult him or say something, or you say, how dare you? Or maybe you even slap him on the face. I mean, there's all kinds of women. Like, where do you go? At what level? And so the way high value woman will handle it. I'm not going to give you, the tricks of how to, even though there is a formula for everything, of course, how to be in alignment with your values. But the point what I'm making is that she will not get to that level. She will talk in a way to see if he will meet her at this level. And men will respond to women. So when you position yourself as a high value woman and you come from that place, oftentimes men will raise up to that standard, but you have to stay at that level. You cannot go down and then look around and say, it's like only low quality men here, not even realizing you now at the same level. And that is why around you, all those men. So it's again, men respond to us always, and we have so much power. You can take a perfectly good man and turn him into a high quality man who will take full responsibility, who will grow on every level his life. And how do we know that? If you ever met women like the couples like that, it's really inspirational because you see their men, their business goes up, they attract new clients, they start going on their vacations, they upgrade their homes, they're buying new cars, you can stay home now and do whatever it is you want. You don't have to work as his spouse, or and they're happier. And that's saying behind every successful or behind every great man is a remarkable woman, comes exactly from that place. And it's been like this for centuries. It's not going to change. We have so much power.
Yeah, and I think that we sometimes forget about that. We sometimes, as women, forget about how much power and influence we have and can use in a way to help inspire and invite the best from men. So I think that's absolutely true. So Polina,
And that is just one more thing. Exactly. That power, I'm going to translate it into our feminine power. It's our feminine leadership. And that is not the power. Oh, I got it. I can do anything that I meant. It's not about it at all. It's a feminine leadership where we can influence to get any man to become the best man he can be, man with a big M, to be our hero, and influence and inspire him to show up that way again and again and again. So it's up to us.
Yeah, yeah. So Polina, this has been a great conversation. And Polina, any last final words you'd like to just share with us before we wrap up?
Sure. So I would say that it comes to anywhere you see lack, anywhere you see there is a gap, there is a discrepancy between your blueprint, your vision for what it is that you want, and the reality. Ask yourself that question. Not like, where do I go to meet a great man to turn all of this around for me? Or where do I find a man who takes responsibility? Ask yourself, look within and ask, where am I not taking responsibility in this area? And what would it look like when I took 100% responsibility? Then your life is going to start transforming.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Polina. It's always such a delight to connect with you. And I'm really grateful to have you here. And thank you for all that you've shared. And for all of you that are watching, we want to honor you because the fact that you're here speaks to who you are. You wouldn't be here if you weren't the kind of woman that is committed to having an extraordinary life and extraordinary love in your life. And so we're holding that vision for you as well. And we're grateful for your presence. And thank you so much for joining us. Bye-bye for now.
Bye.